What's up, YouTube family? See, I'm rocking my Collectively Sustainable. You know, it's all about community. If you're not a member of Farm Fresh 24/7, again, it's in your Apple Store and it's on Google Play Store. So just go in there, download the app, and start getting out there trading and bartering and buying, natural goods. Goods that, people are making by hand. They're raising their animals, all that good stuff, right? And we're about community. So this is not going to be a long video, man. I just realized that I hadn't done one, and I was technically trying to stretch this out until, as you recall, in the last video that I was, when did I do that? Maybe about a week ago, 9-10 days ago. We were talking about the changing in the gun laws and the gun rules and things like that, and just educating ourselves better and all that good stuff. Well, that video is coming up, and actually November 30th we're going to be recording that video, and I'm going to try and get it up to you that evening, either that evening or the next day, because I know it's coming in after Thanksgiving and all that kind of stuff and the whole Black Friday thing. So, but at the end of the day, I want to make sure that this information gets out to you. So no, I haven't forgot you. That video is absolutely coming up, and it will be posted. What I want to tell you guys, realistically, part of why I got into this video is not just to tell you that, even though I wanted you to know that video is coming. I did reach out to the local sheriff here in our county, and they did not, well, I shouldn't say they didn't. They replied, but they never agreed to sit down and meet and talk about what, the whole thing with police having immunity, the qualified immunity. But we did manage to get a Georgia State Trooper that's going to come out and speak with us, a representative from the Georgia State Trooper's office. They're going to come out and speak with us, and some gun protection agencies, like Right to Bear, which Right to Bear is one of the people that are going to be coming out for us, and possibly a local law enforcement officer that's going to be there, and we're going to ask all of these questions. What's the difference between concealed carry and open carry? How should I carry? If I'm concealed carrying, what are the best ways for me to conceal carry? If I'm open carry, what is the best ways for me to open carry in my vehicle and on my person? Because people still are not sure about that. We're going to talk about reciprocity and how you should travel from locations that have reciprocity, as far as you carrying your weapon in different states, and how that works out, and what you should be looking for and what you should think about. In the new administration, presidential administration, they're talking about national reciprocity possibly being a thing where no matter where you travel in the United States, you can carry your weapon. But again, you got to be careful of those red flag laws, because though you can do that, there are still some things in there that could trip you up. You may not be able to carry your weapon the same way you carry it in Texas or Georgia or Tennessee or Florida. Everybody's gonna have a loophole, and though and them little red flags that pop up in there and say, yeah, you could carry it here, but you know what? It had to be carried like this, or it had to be carried like that, or it had to be concealed like this, and I know when you try and look these things up and you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I supposed to do when I get to Texas? And what am I supposed to do when I get in Florida? And you read it and you still like, this is not clear. Well, I think they don't make them clear for a reason. A lot of us, when we try and read these things, we're looking for absolutes. We're looking for definites, like, this is what it is. And some of them have these vague, you don't know how to understand that or take it. And then even if you call the local law enforcement or something out there in those states before you go, you still run into 5 or 6 people going to give you 5 and 6 different answers. I mean, it's just, the whole thing is like, I'm down if they do this for having a general rule and a general law for your carry and your open carry. I'm a firm believer that everybody should be able to have an open carry. I mean, I just, why not? With the exception of, I agree to background checks, and I know some people are like, well, I mean, no, I'm sorry, I if you're gonna do that, I believe you should go through a background check, and yes, get printed and all of that. Only because, man, we see what's happening in these schools, we see what's happening out here in these streets. We have a lot of unstable people out here that are just picking up firearms. They have anger management issues. They, I mean, hell, man, think about it. You got somebody driving behind you and get road rage, and they'll run you off the road. Imagine if they had a firearm in their vehicle, and they do that. So yeah, you want to make sure that people are mentally, sound to carry a firearm. You want to make sure that they think before they shoot. They think before they pull it out, because there's no calling that bullet back once it leaves that weapon. You can't, like, hey, sorry, come on back. When it's gone, it's gone. And you want to make sure that people understand it. You want to make sure that people are properly trained. And I'm down, just like for driver's licenses, maybe every 3 to 5 years you have to go through another mandatory training course where you have to get updated, and they want to make sure that you can operate your weapon or your weapons and all of that. They want to make sure that your weapons are legal and all of those things. So I wouldn't mind going through a situation like that every so many years, every 5 years, every 6 years, or whatever the case may be, to make sure that we're competent and that we're out here being safe, and we don't have a whole bunch of crazy lunatics out here wielding weapons unnecessarily. So those are the things that I wanted to bring up as well. And again, that's just my opinion. Some people may disagree with that, and you can comment on that, but I think those things keep us safe and keep our children safe. Our children can't go to school now. They're going to school with clear book bags so they can see. Come on now, clear book bags. Everything's got to be see-through. You kids are going to school passing through metal detectors. It's getting crazy. And then this strengthens the argument. Pro I'm against guns, and pro I am for guns. And then we're looking at the thing where they may be taking the firearms away, possibly altogether, at least some that can cause what they consider to be major damage. They're looking at the rifles and the ARs and some people around here with these fully autos and things like that. They would probably more than likely go after first. They may limit a household to 1, maybe 2 weapons, and your magazine capacity might get limited. It might be a limit on how many rounds a household. It's so many variables that are being tossed around right now. With that being said, I brought out some things that my wife and I do just as leisure, and it's fun, it's competitive, but they can also be used in self-defense. And I want you guys to think about some things, man. Bullets may run out. Laws may change, and you may not be able to have these things. There could be shortages. We had shortages during the whole pandemic. We were running into shortages because people weren't delivering. Gun parts, weapons malfunctions. Thing is, even in a shift situation or a situation where you feel like you're gonna have to fight off this great enemy or whatever this is, eventually those rounds will run out, and you're gonna have to think of other ways to defend yourself. So some of the fun things my wife and I do, along with, competitive shooting and training and all of that stuff, because I shoot because it's fun, it's competitive. And I could, tease my buddies, hey, you missed that shot, you know how we do, But either way, I think you should find other ways to defend yourself. Like, one of the things my wife and I do is we axe throw. This is made by the SOG company, I guess is how you pronounce them, SOG. And they're nice. They work. And could you do some damage with them? Could you take somebody down with them? Absolutely. If you just kept it as a tomahawk and just used it as self-defense. Because most of the time, if somebody's coming at you, they're going to be either right up on you or 5 or 6 feet from you. Nobody's going to rob you 10 and 20 feet away. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to attack you 10 or 20 feet away. They're going to either come right up on you, or they're going to be in that personal space, that little circumference of that 5 to 6 feet circumference of personal space where they can grab you, attack you, or pull a weapon out on you. Now, is it the same as having a firearm? No. But at the end of the day, how many of you all are actually practicing, drawing your weapons and getting them out fast in order to defend yourself? I mean, seconds matter, minutes matter, and sometimes even having that firearm doesn't guarantee you a win in that fight. So, you still have odds the same way with this, taking down an assailant or somebody that's trying to hurt you. And the thing is, you can practice with these in your backyard. You don't have to worry about any stray rounds flying off, hitting somebody's car, vehicle, house, child, animal, home, whatever. There are there are laws where you can't fire, your weapons unless you have maybe 25 acres, 10 acres, or 100 acres more, and there's nobody in the proximity. So, you may have to have some people maybe 100 yards, 200 yards in either direction from your home, depending on what you're firing, and then you have to have barricades and building up cement walls and dirt walls and sandbags and everything to catch these rounds. So, I mean, think about it. You get a wooden target, you throw the axe at the wooden target, you practice, you get proficient. Same way, with recurve bows, which I didn't bring my recurve out, but I got, big bows, recurve bows, you want to think about things like that. Get proficient pulling bows, and again, it's something you could practice in your backyard. It's something that you could go to a local store that sells these things, and they usually have a little range or a little area where you can practice and get used to drawing your bow and releasing it and getting proficient at it. But again, you can buy targets. You can get these targets off of Amazon and so many places. Some people throw in old trees. Now, I'm a tree hugger. I'm a tree lover. I don't like hurting trees. I always encourage people, don't throw in your trees. That's just being destructive. Get a target, throw into the target. If you're gonna get a bow and arrow, shoot your bow and arrow into a target. The targets aren't that much money. You can go to Home Depot and make them. You can get you soft wood or get you, flooring. I've seen people use stacks of, styrofoam insulation, and things like that, and they just band them up and they use them for bow and arrows and everything. Doesn't cost much. You understand what I'm saying? Another one. Look, seriously, man. Crossbows are cool. Crossbows are absolutely a thing. They work very well. This is a short one. This is a pistol. This is a pistol type, but you can green dot this. You can red dot this. They have rear and front sights, iron sights. You can put a scope on them. You can put a flashlight on them. They have different types of grips. You can set them up the same way as a shotgun or AR or something like that. It's the same thing. You can get them bigger. You can get them smaller. You can get compound bows. Think about that. Another thing my wife and I do competitively a lot, and she's practicing a lot on is throwing knives. Again, targets in the yard. You ain't got to worry about hitting nobody innocent unless they standing by the target, something like that. And hopefully you ain't throwing while they by the target. But these are just some other things that you can have. These are made by Smith & Wesson. I'll go into separate reviews on a lot of these things, and I'll do videos on me using these things. But yeah, they're made by Smith. This is their Bullseye brand. I'll get into the whole spec on this because that's not what this video is about. The steel that it's made out of and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get into that when I do reviews on these type of weapons and things like that. These are the arrows that are used, for my crossbow. And trust me, a crossbow is very, very lethal. Very lethal. They do make a little noise. Some of them have buffering where they don't make that much noise. You can hunt with them. You can get small game with them. You can take down large game with them. They're very proficient. Same way with compound bows, regular bows, and recurve bows. You could do the same thing. Hand to hand is another thing. Again, if you're being attacked, more hand-to-hand classes are being taken now by a lot of people, especially women. And we know why. We're not going to get into that, but we know why more and more women are doing that right now. But martial arts, basic self-defense, those are things that you can do. Because if bullets and guns run out or the system changes, you're still going to have ways to defend yourself. And if you're only dependent on your firearm and your bullets, and nothing else, it's the same way with being prepared. It's the same way with going out here camping and everything else. If you only got one way to purify water, you just as well not have any ways of purifying water, because you're going to be dead in the dirt. Something's going to run out, or something is not going to work well, and you don't have any other avenues. Same way with starting fires when you're trying to keep warm. If you only got one way to start a fire, then you pretty much might be dead in the water, because whatever you have may not work in that situation. Wood may be too wet, your flint may not work, the lighter may not work, you're out of fluid, the matches are, anything can happen. So most people that are wise, that are living a life of camping and bushcrafting and survival, know that you have to have more than one way, more than one way of food supplies, more than one way of just moving around. Why limit yourself with just guns and rifles, knowing that it might be a chance that we may have them, we may not have them. Ammo may run out, maybe ammo shortages, it may be ammo restrictions, it may be certain weapon restrictions, and yet you still want to catch that deer, that doe, you still want to catch that buck, you know what I mean? You still want to get that hog. You gotta have some other ways to do that, because you still want to eat, right? When we go fishing, a lot of us go fishing with multiple poles, different types of poles, and we're casting, right? Because we're not just going to rely on one location, one area. We're going to be casting in all types of different directions if you really out there fishing. You know what I mean? So why do that with your self-defense? That's all I want to say. So we're going to wrap it up here, y'all. I want to make that short and sweet. Again, I have that video up for you on the 30th or after the 30th. And if you know anybody that's interested in any of that information, because we're going to be covering a lot of information, it will probably be a long video, because it's going to be a Q&A with the people that come out, and I'm re-recording their questions, And I'm also going to be interviewing the law enforcement, and I'm going to be interviewing the gun rights organizations and stuff like that, and gun protection organizations. And I believe the owner of the gun shop that we're going to is also going to be speaking on the best concealed carry weapons. So this video, the videos coming up may very well be a two-part video. I would encourage you to come out, because even in the recording and the Q&A, if videos are paused or stopped, or we run into problems where we might get some of the footage, we may get all the footage, things happen. These are electronics, and things happen. I would encourage you, to follow the channel, join Farm Fresh, and follow us on Instagram, Collectively Sustainable on Instagram, Farm Fresh, Nature Boy, Seals Family Farm. Follow those people too, because the flyers are floating around for the event on the 30th. But for you all that are not in the Georgia area, I'm just letting you know right now that if you want to watch this, I will have the video up. You guys will get to see it, and we pray everything runs well and we get all that footage. But there's going to be so much more going on that day that we may not record, or we may not get a chance to record. So if you are in the area and you're in the community, then definitely, guys, make it your best to come on out. And I guess you want to know where, huh? So we're going to be in McDonough, Georgia. And it's going to be, what's the name of the place? Oh God, I'll post it in the comments. I'll post it in the comments, but I know that's where we're going to be, and it's going to be from 11 to 1, and we'll go from there. So forgive me for that. I'll post it in the comments or whatever. I'll put it up in the video later. But for the most part, you don't have to worry about it. We're going to record it. If you're in the area and you're part of the group, you're part of Collectively Sustainable, you follow me on this channel, and you're part of the Farm Fresh community, all that information is already out there anyway, and that's what you do. But keep following me, because we're going to be doing more and more. We got some other cool videos coming up with actual weapons training, even carrying your weapons while driving and defending yourself. We got a whole lot of cool stuff coming up, y'all. So the only way you're going to find out any more about that is you got to subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Ring the bell. Give me a like. Keep us in the algorithm. And I'm out, and I'll see you there.